Hello everyone, Counterspell Hater here back with another EDH guide. Before we get into anything, please like and subscribe. Thank you to the 39 of you who are currently still subscribed right now and have been supporting me up to this point. Keep doing what you're doing best. And if you want to be one of those people, just click subscribe and like. And while you're at it, comment. If you're the first comment, you can make an EDH request. I will fulfill said request by dedicating a future episode to it. So just, if you're first, name like what you want and like maybe even a style if you want it. So like an equipment commander, Voltron, whatever it may be, let me know. And even if you aren't the first, please comment anyways. I like feedback from you guys. I like the feedback I got from one of my commenters today on one of my videos, on my Oscar video that I did. Go check that out. Thank you to you who gave me feedback. And but anyways, and after that, while you're at it, hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss another video of mine. And share this video along with other videos found on my channel with other people. And with that said, we're not getting to Streets of New Capenna today. Oh no, we're looking at the newest commander set. Yes, I am indeed talking about Battle for Baldur's Gate. And it's going to be coming out, and I just got a sneak peek at some of the spoilers, and I saw a particularly nasty card that was spoiled, and I decided why not cover it in this episode. Now, if y'all will remember for a moment, the Sphere Manifest video I did, that was an unfair commander. This is pretty much the same. I shall introduce y'all to Gothrod, Captain Gothrod. I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly, but I don't want to mispronounce that and accidentally say something that I don't mean to. But it is a horror's tribal, and if you remember, Umbris was horror and nightmare creatures, and it was unfair. And this is no different. This is a horror tribal mill deck in blue-black. So, yeah, if you play this, be prepared to maybe lose friends, because this is no fair whatsoever. Like, this is a very broken card. More broken than probably any card in the set that's coming out. Like, Wizards. You saw Umbris. Why? But it doesn't matter. Wizards does what Wizards does, and we just make content off of it. So with that said, let's get into it. So we've got our horrors, Hullbreaker Horror, make it more difficult for our opponents to block, thanks to us casting spells. Sludge Monster to do the same thing, and can really ruin our opponent's plans. Rudo Stormkirk can help us find something, while Krotha, Lord of the Deep, is more the bigger payout because he can make copies of our creatures. And if it just so happens to be a Kraken move, either Nocturus or Serpent, we create 2 of those tokens instead. And did I mention that they're tapped and attacking? Because that trigger happens when Krothos attacks. So yeah. Call of the Nightwing to make even more horrors. Consuming Aberration, because there's going to be a lot of stuff in our opponent's graveyards. Sewer Nemesis. Same thing. Fire Etching Obliterate, make it even more difficult for our opponents to block. Trampling 5/5 for 4 mana that causes your opponent to sacrifice stuff when it's dealt damage. I mean, kind of nasty. Nemesis of Reason mills on its own when it attacks. I mean, if this deals combat damage and it manages to live, you can be milling 13 or more cards within combat alone. And that's not even including like everything that you've done outside of combat. Nihilist is a great card in this deck because of how we play mill. I mean, 4/4 horror with fear, which I believe that means this can only be blocked by black creatures or artifact creatures. Pretty sure. For one and a black, suspending this thing will be no big deal. I mean, 7 turns is going to turn into nothing because of how this thing works when it's suspended. Screaming Swarm increases the amount of cards we mill when we attack and can get itself back from our graveyard. Drownyard Amaglam, probably would recommend you put this in your deck because when it enters in, it mills cards and it can make itself unblockable. So you can guarantee that you mill cards, like 3 or more. Roiling Horror is a great card because this can end, because when you suspend this can end up draining someone. And when this thing finally comes in, it may be a rather big creature as opposed to just hard casting it for 5, because mono white life game players exist, which puts a pretty big dent in this thing. This thing can also help us stay around. Micaeus the Unhallowed, it's not a horror. Well, he's not a horror, I guess I should say. He's not a horror, but he can bring our horrors back and even stronger thanks to Undying that he gives to him. Profane Transfusion. Remember that mono white life game player problem we have? Well, Profane Transfusion solves that problem and gives us a horror out of it that can be pretty sizable. Hooded Horror can't be blocked if defending player controls the most creatures. So this is preparing us for most instances, like I said in past few videos, being prepared for most instances of players in EDH is one of the keys to winning. So having cards that are prepared to counter like certain types of players, like this is prepared to counter like white green. This is asking to counter white green players. So by having that preparedness, you're more likely to win. So by having this in here, we're more likely to win in most situations. Kurik, I don't know. Son of Yawgmoth has a nice payout. Allows us to be flexible with our mana by a whole lot by making the black mana and spells we cast turn to Phyrexian black mana, which can be paid with either black mana or 2 life. And he has lifelink, and whenever we cast a spell, he gets bigger. So this can keep us in the game and help us cast more spells within a turn. Night Howler is just great. It's a horror on its own, and because of Bestow, it can make something really big because of how we're milling. Mage Hunters for instant or sorcery players, drain them pretty fast. Ludwig's Test Subject is nice because it starts out not so scary. It can be a nice defender, nice chump blocker. And then later, when you finally transform it, it's a 13/13 creature with trample, and it just so happens to be a lizard horror. Geth Lord of the Vault, since we're milling, we're going to have a lot of options. So we'll be able to benefit off of that. Even if we say we want to get 2 things out of our commander, but because of how our commander works, we can only get 1 at the beginning of our end stuff. Because of Geth Lord of the Vault, we'll be able to get those things on a later turn, or being whether it's one of our turns or during our opponent's turns, and our opponent will get milled. So if we do this during our turn before our end step, this will be even more beneficial. So definitely would recommend this. Now we've got like tribal effects and also trying to double up on our commander's triggers. So we've got reflections of literature. Obviously, we're going to be choosing horror. And then we've got changeling effects, so like Maskwood Nexus as a token generator that can make 2/2s with not shapeshifter. That's a creature type. Changeling, which makes them every creature type. And it makes creatures we control every creature type, and the same is true for creature spells we control and creature cards we own that aren't on the battlefield. And then we have Obelisk Convert. Obviously, we're going to be naming horror, and we can convoke it out. Door of Destinies and Coat of Arms to buff up our guys a lot. Humble of the Host is nice because we can get an even bigger payout by attaching this to our commander, which will then end up making multiple copies of the captain. Fenax, God of Deception, allows us to hang back, and instead of having to attack and risk having our creatures killed, we can just tap them to mill our opponents. Bloodline Pretender is in here because it has Changeling and because it gets buffed up every time a creature of the chosen type enters the battlefield under our control. Carrion Wanderer because we're milling so many, and this is also a counter to aristocrats in a way, and self-mill decks, Golgari decks, or stuff like that. Because as they mill more and more, like more stuff is milled, whether it's us or them. This thing is getting more and more keywords, most likely, than anything. And that can be like anything from like flying, or in first strike to like double strike and lifelink, or like protection. Birthing Bows, just another token generator that generates tokens with not clueless Changeling. Changeling Outcast is in here because it can't be blocked. Followed Footsteps, make copies of something. Stolen Identity, same thing. Lithoform Engine and Strionic Resonator are here to double up on triggers. Lithoform Engine is also in here because it can double up on the amount of horrors, of non-token horrors we play within a turn, or create, I guess you could say. Slakashima of 1,000 Faces to copy our commander. Mirror Hall Mimic, make copies of one thing specifically. Bruvok, the Grand Delinquent, to double up on mill. Fleet Swallower, it's a non-horror, but still milling half the deck. Still going to get that payout from your commander no matter what. If you mill your opponents, then you're getting that payout at the end of the turn. Fraying Sanity in combination with Fleet Swallower to just end up killing someone. Now, which kind of is a flaw for this deck. If someone ends up like dying in the game, then all of their stuff that they own vanishes from your board state. Which is why we kind of have Altar of Dementia, so we can use those creatures in case we don't want them. We just reanimate big stuff, and then you immediately sacrifice it to Altar of Dementia to mill other people. So that kind of is like a secondary win condition if you think about it, by using our commander's payout to mill our opponents even more. Keening Stone, mill even more. Bone Horde, once again another counter for aristocrats. Golgari, sacrifice of self-mill, and it synergizes greatly with our deck. Trepanation Blade can end up milling someone for a lot. Fracture Sanity, I mean, triple blue, you mill each of your opponents for 14 cards. That's in a 4-way, that is 42 possible options available to you for when your commander triggers off. And even if you just cycle it, you're getting 12 possible options if they're not all like non-artifact or non-creature cards. Riddle Keeper, this is another big counter to army players like red-white tokens, green-white tokens, so like Selesnya, or green-blue Essex. Especially like Venturous Undercard, stuff like that. This is a big counter because then it punishes for our opponents for attacking us. Mind Grind can just kill someone if we do this on our turn. Who knows what sort of options we may have. Undead Alchemist is in here because this can end up creating its own army, which can end up milling our opponents because of its text. Although we do eliminate our options of creatures, we still have artifacts. So this is nice because like our opponent could may just not have that good of stuff, or we may not be getting as much payouts as what we like from like our opponent's creatures. So instead, we may just we could use this to generate us value and help us mill them even more. So this can use to speed up the game. And then Ruin Crab, because I mean 1 mana, turn 1, pretty nice. Not to mention make use of your land drops. Hostile Hotel, because it's another horror construct and it's a land. You can't. You will have to sacrifice stuff to it, but that's no big deal. And it can protect itself by using its ability, or by having you use its ability to phase it out. And then Mutavault, since it can turn into a 2/2 with essentially Changeling. And then we've got our 24 basic swamps and our 24 basic islands. And with that, the end of another unfair commander, Captain Gothrod. I know I'm still not pronouncing that correctly, but like I said, don't want to mispronounce it and accidentally say something I don't mean. With that said, please like and subscribe. Thank you to the 39 of you who are currently subscribed. I want to see that subscriber number keep going up. So please show your support and click that subscribe button. While you're at it, click like and comment. If you're the first comment, you know the deal. Make an EDH request, just type the name of the commander and the style you want. I will dedicate a future episode to said request as soon as I can. Oh, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss another video. Oh, and as you're commenting, if you're not the first comment, please comment anyways. I like feedback from you guys. Don't forget to share this video along with other videos found on my channel with other people. With that said, I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.